This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Polly Robinson Brown Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Jason Bellamy-Fults. Welcome, Jason, to the Queen Lizzie podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. It's an honor to have you. I met Jason a couple of 3 months ago. Hasn't been that long. In Rosewood. Yes. And I was very happy to meet you because I didn't know that you were going to run for a public office. And I'm going to let you tell us, okay, your plans, your ideas, what you need to do, what you are going to do, and what you need us to help you do in order to make history.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm a fourth generation Floridian.
Okay.
I grew up in Central Florida, and then I left Florida for a while, and then I came back in '08. And when I came back, I landed in Gainesville, and I've been in Gainesville since '08.
Okay.
I've been pretty active in the community. I'm really involved with a local organization called the Community Weatherization Coalition.
Okay.
And we help people who are struggling with their utility bills. We go in and we help them figure out ways to lower their bills and access critical home repair if they need it. And I've also been really active in my union and in a range of issues that affect working people in the community. And been doing that since '08. And honestly, I've been pretty content just here. I love this community that I'm in. I love the work that we do. I feel like we've made a real difference in a lot of people's lives. And I never had any real inclination about running for office, not even local office. I'd had people approach me about maybe running for local office. I said, I enjoy what I do. I like the way I'm involved in the community. But, you know, in recent years in particular, I feel like Tallahassee has started to really make some bad decisions.
Okay.
And override the will of our local communities and really do some things that are hurting working people in this state. And so I finally had enough, and I decided that somebody needed to step up and do something, and it turned out that somebody was me.
Okay.
And other folks as well, like Amy Trask, who you know is running to represent Alachua County, and another great woman, if you haven't met her yet, Marilee Gibson, up there in Fort White. She's also running to represent Alachua County. So we've got a really great group of people that have said, hey, you know, these are some issues that we really care about.
Right.
And Tallahassee is not only not helping us, but in some ways are actively harming us. And we need to step up and do something. So
exactly.
That's
and
it.
you tell Gibson, you say her name is Gibson?
Marilee Gibson.
Make sure you put her in touch with me, and
will.
I'll give her a platform so that she can get her information out there, because we need change. We need to protect democracy. We need to keep Alachua beautiful and keep us informed, because when I met you and you told me the office, the position that you were running for, I didn't realize it was part of Alachua County.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you know, you've probably heard of the term gerrymandering.
Oh, I got a song. I'm so glad you said that.
Okay.
I have a song I wrote about gerrymandering.
About gerrymandering.
Yeah, it's called "Listen Up, Floridian."
You want to sing it?
I don't know it. It's
okay.
Listen up, Floridian. Listen up with intent. You need to know the intent of our next event. Something like that.
Okay.
It's awesome. It's coming. Hey, I have already uploaded it. Okay. I'm just waiting, and they have sent it out to all of the platforms, more than 23.
I'd like to hear it.
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay.
It talks about the politicians not doing what they need to do. I'm so glad you said that, which
100%.
reminded me about what we need to do. And I told them that they were a bunch of something other. And I mean something other. But it was something of our interest to the listeners. Hopefully they will. Hey, I don't remember the details, but anyway, you hear it on my song. I'll send you the link when I get home so that you can hear it.
I'd love that. It's an incredibly important issue, and it's incredibly damaging to our democracy.
It is.
You know, it's like politicians shouldn't be picking their voters, right? Voters should be picking their politicians.
I say that in my song.
Go, look at that. Maybe I heard it.
I say that in my. So. It's an awesome song. Some people are not going to like it. At 88, I say what I want to say.
That's it.
Let me tell you when I produced it. It was 2010, 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I was afraid to release it because of
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if it was safe or not. But right now, 88, I really don't care.
That's it.
Okay? It's my song, and I'm sticking to it.
I feel you. And, you know, it's kind of a similar thing. The district that I'm running in is a really tough district for a Democrat to run in. And people have, you know, said that to me, like, hey, you know, you maybe don't have a chance of winning this. But the nice thing about running in a race like this, where people tell you don't have a chance, is that you can say exactly what you think. I don't have to hide anything.
Exactly, and some of them will be listening.
That's right.
They too are tired of what is going on. It's
100%.
all about attacking the poor, not poor. It's about the rich and powerful. It's all about them. They really don't care about us, any of us, whether we are Democrats or Republicans,
100%.
black or white. They do not care. I feel it. I grew up with it. I say it to people. I remember what we're going through now where they're trying to take us back. I grew up in that. I grew up poor, not poor. We had everything we needed, food and some place to live, but we were not rich. Okay? But now is the time for us to come together and take charge of our country. This 100%. Is our country. This is our democracy. They're trying to take us back.
100%.
Am I talking too much?
I love what you're saying, so you keep talking.
Yeah,
but I'm with you completely, and I think a lot of people are very upset.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are ready for a change.
Yes.
And, you know, the same basic group of people have been in charge of this state for a generation now.
Exactly.
And I think that people are kind of seeing the results of that. You know, you're talking about the rich and the powerful. It feels to me, as somebody that's been watching Tallahassee pretty closely, that that's basically who's running our state at this point.
Exactly. You know? And in my song, I think I talk about 4 years or 6 years and only 3 incumbent defeated. This happened in 3 or 4 years. The song is so powerful.
I'm going to have to listen to it.
You're going to have to listen to it because it's true.
And you wrote that in 2010?
2010.
Wow.
Don't ask me how, because during that time, they changed something. The judge had to go in and make a change. I went back in that song, and I called it whatever change he made, I called it, I referred to it in my edited piece of my song, The Poison Pill. Okay? Was something by the judge. He made a change, so I went back, and I made the change in that song. It's going to blows my mind when I listen to it, because I don't remember writing it. I did the music. I sat at my organ, and it's not music. It's kind of like a rap.
Okay.
Like that, and the lyrics are awesome. That's enough about my song.
Well, and this is probably, so if we think back, you know, enough Floridians were fed up with the gerrymandering that we passed the constitutional amendment, right?
Exactly.
Fair districts.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that was supposed to end this stuff.
Exactly.
And so,
exactly. This song is going to blow everybody's mind. And I ended up saying proceeds from this song will be, used for Fair District, Florida. I'm changing that. It's my song. It's going to my Rosewood Foundation.
Excellent. For
the museum, the proceeds. Okay? But I didn't have time. I didn't know how to edit it. Okay. I don't even know how I wrote it. But it's my song. It's my voice. And it's awesome. So y'all listen out for it this week.
As they say in the podcast industry, watch the show notes. It'll be in the show notes.
It will be in
A
the
link
show
to the
notes.
song will be in the show notes.
Exactly. So I'm glad you brought that up, but I
Yeah.
didn't intend to.
Well, it's important. It's important.
Okay.
And it's the reason, it's a big part of the reason that Alachua County's voice is being drowned out in Tallahassee. So,
Exactly.
everybody talks about, Alachua County is this progressive bubble in this part of Florida and so on and so forth. But if you look at our legislative delegation, so we've got 2 senators and 3 representatives, so 5 people that represent Alachua County in Tallahassee. And they have, with the exception of one, I always mention Representative Yvonne Hayes Henson, who has been fantastic for us. She has been a great representative for our community. But the other 4 have consistently voted against the interests of this community, have overrode our local laws in this community, have stolen our utility. And so, for too long, because of the way that they've carved up Alachua County and said, well, part of Alachua County is going to be in this district and part's going to be in this district, and they sort of glom us on to all these other conservative communities. People in Alachua County have said, well, we don't have a chance of winning any of those seats because they're too conservative. And I think that that's wrong on a couple fronts. One, we have to get out and fight. We have to get out and talk to people and make our voices heard. We have to do that. That's what democracy is. Even if you think that you're not going to see eye to eye with people, you have an obligation to get out and talk to them and try, right?
Exactly.
And so that's a really important aspect of why we need to do this. But secondly, I think it's super important now because like we were just discussing, it doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. Conservative, middle of the road, liberal, people are upset with what is happening in this state. Their costs are too high, their wages are too low, and people are ready to do something about it. And so now more than ever, we have an obligation. As you said, our democracy is under threat. We have an obligation to get out and talk to people and really try and work together and make change.
We have, and Zach, may I play a little of my song?
Please.
Of course.
Let's see if it plays. Yep. But anyway, I am endorsing people. This is my Rosewood podcast. I'm not endorsing them under the name of my Rosewood Foundation.
Sure.
Personally, I am endorsing people who I believe are going to represent me and the people, the majority people of Alachua County. Archer, I live in Archer. They forget about Archer, small rural areas. I invited Governor, he's not governor, David Jolly. I invited him on my podcast show. And I was telling him, I did mention Rosewood on my show to him, and that I'm trying to build a museum. And he said to me, Mrs. Jenkins, as we speak, there is enough federal funds right now to build the Rosewood Museum tomorrow if they wanted to. So I know that he is going to be a supporter to help us get that museum. It's about history. It's not about black history. It's about Florida's history. And we owe that to the people that lost their lives and lost their property. We need to keep that history alive. And I, back in 2004, when I was trying to get the historical marker that you saw, that Governor Jeb Bush was kind enough to lend support and help us build that historical marker to leave a marker, landmark, the Florida landmark there for the future generation to remember. We have to keep history alive.
100%.
I helped build this.
And I met that marker before I ever met you because my wife is African American and her sister was down here visiting us a couple years ago, and we drove out to Cedar Key, and of course on the way to Cedar Key, she knew of Rosewood. She wanted to stop, and it meant a lot to her that marker was there and that we could stop for a moment and just take it in, just where we were and what that meant. And so, when you do something like that, the effects of that ripple out, well before I knew of your foundation, well before I knew of you, that marker was there. And it meant a lot. It meant a lot to us to be able to just stop and acknowledge,
Exactly, and feel the energy. I think 100%. I have found the song. Let me see. Listen up, Florida. Floridians. Listen up, Florida voters. I have a message for you from 1.6 million supporters. Vote yes on Amendment 6 and vote yes on Amendment 5. Voting on one accord, Florida's democracy survives. Listen up, Florida voters. Listen up with intent. Listen to this message revealing content. 1.65 million Floridians signed the petitions pack. A vote on fair district puts equal voting back on track. Calling all registered voters to connect on demand. A yes vote on 5 and 6 put control in the voter's hand. Fixed elections can be stopped. It's a voter's right to screen votes equally, avoiding political fights. The removed amendment was a power grab for some of our politicians. Gerrymandering picked their voters for years in addition. Listen up, Floridians. Listen up, Florida voters. Vote yes on 5 and 6. Fair District Florida supporters. Now move on down the ballot. The amendments are affixed. Number 7, no more. Vote yes on 5 and 6. The poison pill removed by the judge was filled with tricky stuff. Blocking newcomers a chance to win. Florida voters have had enough. Florida voters will stand together, telling politicians to beat it. 6 years, 420 elections, only 3 incumbents defeated. To my students and my friends and my Rosewood family folks, stand up with Fair Florida District. Go out and cast your vote. Vote early, vote absentee, or vote in line at the poll. Vote yes on 5 and 6, putting gerrymandering on hold. Tell coworkers, tell family, tell neighbors and friends. A yes vote on 5 and 6, all Florida voters win. Voting yes on 5 and 6 will change gerrymandering's task, marking a victory for Florida voters at last. Listen up, Floridians. Listen to my appeal. Voting is a privilege, and it's very real. Passing Amendments 5 and 6 will support Fair Districts Florida to represent fair voters of Florida. Vote yes on Amendments 5 and 6, November 2nd, 2010, to guarantee that legislative and congressional gerrymandering ends. Paid for by Lizzie Robinson Jenkins. Proceeds from this message will co-sponsor Fair Districts Florida. Yes, yes.
I love it.
It's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History. I am Florida and America's Black History, and you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Jason Bellamy-Fults. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Okay, we are back, and I'd like to send a shout out first to my sponsors. As you just heard, Steve Spurrier, Gridiron Grill, Freddie Weeby, marketing, Meldon Law, and we all know Meldon Law from years affiliation with the University of Florida. I think it was like 1970, during his hippie years. Yes, he was a hippie. He has been involved with the University of Florida, and I don't say it, but deep down within, I know the University of Florida supports me and my project also, because I have spoken my history during my 45 years of research. I have gone my time, my money, never charged them anything, 29 times, and I have spoken to the students and for the professors. I have done bus tours out to Rosewood, taking the professors and the students out there. So I have given greatly to the University of Florida, and y'all owe me too, at least a plaque. I said it.
I'm not disagreeing.
Some type of recognition. Because I did it for the kids. And you know what? And I also did quite a few personal interviews. They would go home and they would call me, Miss Jenkins, when they had to do a report, a paper. You know, I would like to interview you personally. May I? We'll drive out and come out and interview you. I said, only if you send a copy. Yes, ma'am. I never got the copy, but they got the information. But that didn't bother me. I did my job. I knew they were college students. They probably could not afford or drive back out there to visit me. But I helped them, okay, with their education. And today I will still do the same thing. And speaking of helping people, last week on the 3rd of this month, I invited Mirror Image, which is Mirror Image Leadership Academy. Thank you very much. That's Zach, y'all. Zach is the producer. He knows everything, okay? And I invited them out to the farm. And on the farm, we have animals, goats, chickens, and donkeys. And they came out and I talked to them about Rosewood. They had a wonderful time, all 8th graders. They fed the goats, but the most enjoyable thing that they did on this field trip, we have to water the animals, and my husband had a water hose there, and every kid wanted to drink water from that water hose.
A water hose?
They'd never done that before. But they had a wonderful time, and they are brilliant. And when I say they are brilliant, they are very intelligent. They ask questions, because where we are going to build this museum, we have 29 acres. And they said to me, one kid said, why do y'all have all of this property? I said, well, it was family property, and it was handed down. And one guy said, well, why don't you sell it? And another guy said, 8th grader, you don't sell generational property? I almost fell over. I was standing, but I almost fell over. I allowed them to talk. We have pine trees. Why don't you sell the pine trees? He said, man, all you think about is money, selling stuff. This is family property. She just told you she was not going to sell it, and they enjoyed that. And as I said, they enjoyed the goats. No, the donkeys. The goats ran and hid from them, but the donkeys had a ball eating bread, so they fed them bread. So what I'm going to do is start a class with them, coming over, driving over, and teaching them who they are. We're going to start with the family tree. That was my assignment. Do you know who you are and know where you came from?
I love that.
And one little guy said, well, do we add? I told them their mom and dad. And one little guy said, well, can I add my siblings? I said, of course. So they were interested. And I told my husband when they left, I said, these kids are not bad, are not dumb. They're not challenged. Okay? They had a different light in their little eyes, bless their little hearts, and I'm going to enjoy working with them. And I don't know how I got on that conversation, because I was about to talk about the sponsors. I appreciate what they do, and please stop by on the weekend. They have a brunch on the weekend from 11 to 2 to 3. Best food in town.
That brunch is no joke. I'll tell you what, I was talking to my friend Chuck about it on the way here. That brunch is no joke.
It is absolutely no joke. It's no joke. And that's my way of, giving back or promoting them, because they do so much to make sure this history is alive. It's Rosewood history. My aunt was a school teacher. She survived, but she suffered the agony of defeat. She was attacked. She never got over that. For 25 years, she ran from the conspirators that made sure or threatened them if they talked what they would do to them. She was afraid to talk. She moved 5 times. She changed her name 6 times. On her headstone is not her name properly. She didn't use Carrier. She used Carol. That was not her name. But she suffered. And my mother told me, gave me this assignment and said, you need to keep this history alive. And I said, Mom, I can't. It's too painful. She said if I was younger, I would keep it alive. And I wanted to say to her, I wish you were younger. But it hasn't been easy. If I had to do it all over again, I guess I'll do the same thing. It's important. It does not need to repeat. So that's
100%.
why I work so hard. And that's why I'm reaching out to you all, because I want to pull you all in.
100%. Well, and there's so much you said there that I want to unpack. One is the education piece. I'm an educator. My wife is an educator, and I believe really strongly in the power of experiential education.
Yes.
And another piece of that, what you said, the family history piece, I think that's absolutely critical and important for people. I did that. I've done that a little bit with my own family. And it's interesting, for most of us, you don't have to go back very far
Right.
to find people that came here from another country.
Exactly.
You don't have to go very far at all.
Exactly.
And I think if more people did that and had a greater appreciation for where they come from, it might give them a little bit of a different perspective on some of the conversations that we're having in this country right now,
Exactly.
So I think that that's super important. But, the last piece you said too about your life's work, which I think we're so blessed to have you doing this work that you do. It's absolutely crucial that we don't leave that history behind, and I
Yes.
appreciate the work that you're doing to, one day when you're no longer with us, hopefully far in the future, that work carries on and that memory carries on. And it's not just, I think a lot of people misunderstand this. And I think this is one of the problems that we've had in Tallahassee with trying to ban books and erase history and things like that. It's not about making people feel guilty for things that happened in the past. It's about understanding that there are really dark moments in human history, in all parts of human history. And we need to know that because we need to make sure that we don't repeat that and do that to each other again.
Exactly.
But the other side of it too, wherever there's darkness like that, there's also light. Because as we know the story of Rosewood, people had help, people fought back.
Yes.
And that's always the story. Whenever there's oppression in our society, there's always people that help, there's always people that fight back. And so telling these stories is telling both sides of the story.
Exactly. And it's not about black history, it's our history.
Our history.
Okay? Because Rosewood was a black town. Had it not been for the sheriff, the store merchant, and the Bryce brothers, the train conductors, the blacks would not have survived because Cedar Key is a peninsula, one way in and one way out. The sheriff, the Levy County Sheriff, Bob Walker, worked. My mother said he worked 24/7 in an effort to make sure those blacks got out of Rosewood alive. He went to Cedar Key. He begged the Cedar Key train conductors, the Bryce boys, and other train conductors to please help him. And they all said, no, it's too dangerous. We cannot jeopardize the lives of our family. And he continued to beg and plead with them, I got to. So he went back again to the Bryce brothers from Bryceville, Florida, and said to them, you got to help me. And they said, well, Bob, if you come, if we can leave like 4 a.m. in the morning when all of the other crooks had gone to bed, we will help you. And they did. I don't know who the guys were that got on that train before it left Cedar Key when it stopped in Rosewood and helped the elderly and the children on that train. I don't know who they were. I call them my Rosewood heroes, unsung heroes, because they, had it not been for them, they would have all perished there. in Rosewood. And my mom, I told you, was my historian, and she said, research, authenticate, document, tell the truth. And she said, oh, so you need a song if you're going to tell Rosewood's story. And I'm going to share just three verses of the song that she wrote. You may want to record this. That she wrote representing the people that helped most. The Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with a lantern, its young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plans, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock, informed the train conductors just when and where to stop, pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out, and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. Bob Walker and John Wright took on a daring risk, put the survivors on the train, Lord, and sent them off with a kiss. Notified the Gainesville families to be on the lookout for their kin. Told them the train was coming and told them exactly when. So Mom wanted to make sure people know that, as you were saying, this is not Black history. It's our history. All white people were not bad. I don't want anybody to ever think that. I may say something, but whatever I say about them, it happened to me, or I meant it when I said it, but that doesn't define who they are.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
And
And that's one of the things I have to say in just the brief time that I've gotten to know you and learn about you. I love the way, the spirit and the light that you bring to these conversations, because it could be a very dark and ugly conversation. And obviously there's that part to it, but there's also the part that you were just saying about, of people fighting back and doing right and helping others. And that, to me, as a student of the civil rights movement, for instance, there's the really dark side of Jim Crow South and what was happening in this country, but there's also the people that literally gave their lives to ensure that future generations would have a better situation, would have a real democracy. And celebrating and lifting up those people, to me, that's the best parts of America and of the American story. And those are stories we need to be telling.
Exactly. And I know you must have read my Facebook, because you just brought up the civil rights. I went to St. Augustine yesterday. I went to college at Florida Memorial. 1960, that we did a sit-in, lunch council sit-in. I didn't sit, but I was there. Okay, my day was coming up the next day, my time to sit. However, President Johnson called in and said, and made sure it ended. Okay. The guys and the girls were beat up. They were put in jail. I'm just sorry I didn't get, I was not jailed. I would have had that document,
right,
to prove my civil rights.
Right.
But I did talk about it on my Facebook, and the people are saying, my family is saying, Liz, I didn't know this happened to you. You never told me. It was not about that. I don't want them to feel sorry for me. I want them to know what I did. I did it for us, for civil rights. And if David Jolly, and I hope you're listening, David Jolly, if David Jolly wins, I want to be on his civil rights board.
Okay.
Maybe the president. Did you hear, David? Because I have lived it. Okay? And ask for what you want. And I'm going Wednesday to Tallahassee. He's going to announce his lieutenant governor. And I will be right there. And we are near closing. Would you like to have closing remarks?
Well, I want to say thank you for having me. It's really an honor to get to come and talk with you. And I just want to encourage people to reach out. I've got a website, takingbackflorida.org. And again, just think about what we're trying to do. We're takingbackflorida.org. So give it a visit. Come and let me know what's on your mind and what you think we can do to make things better in our community and in our state.
And donate.
And donate and volunteer.
And I want you to know when I said donate, I have interviewed Republican and Democrats. Every person, and some of them are campaigning against each other, but every person I interview, I give them a donation. Okay? The same amount, however. But it's not about the amount. It's from my heart. And I give it to them. And I want them to win. And I told him a minute ago now, when you're at the very end of your campaign, the money that you have left over and can't no longer use, you can always give it to a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
rosewoodflorida.com.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, and I have enjoyed you. And I'm going to give you the honor of reading my closing remarks.
Oh,
Will
thank
do that
you.
for me?
Sure.
Okay.
I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. You're Queen Lizzie.
Yes.
Until next time, bye.
Okay. Goodbye.